After those explanations, a vote before the vote taking place, and at the request of the representative from Pakistan to hold a separate vote on paragraph 10, but I see Pakistan is requesting the floor. Is it a point of order, Pakistan, or a simple request of the floor? Either way, go ahead, please, sir.
Vous avez la parole.
You have the floor, Ambassador.
Mr. President, before we proceed to the vote, there is this issue that I highlighted in my statement, and that is about the funding. Because as we heard from the Secretariat, the funding is not available, and it's not a small amount. And we would like to know where the funding is going to come from. Because if the funding is not going to come from the regular budget, and this obviously the regular budget does not have the funds available, then it has to come from some other source, and we find that that would be an option that would taint the whole process, especially if the funding comes from a country that is a sponsor of this resolution. Therefore, at this point, because there isn't sufficient funds, the logical thing to do is not to take any action on this resolution. Therefore, I would suggest that as a first step, we should consider a no action motion on this resolution. Thank you.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur l'ambassadeur du...
Thank you, Ambassador of Pakistan.
Nous allons aller progressivement. Vous allez
We will take this in stages. You have asked for clarification on the availability of funding within the PBI to finance the provisions of paragraph 10. So we will first of all give the floor to the person responsible for the PPI in this respect, so we can have explanations.
I confirm, as I stated earlier, that an additional appropriation from the regular budget will be requested to finance the resolution. Thank you.
Oui, justement, j'allais vous redonner la parole, Monsieur l'ambassadeur.
I was going to give you the floor again, Ambassador of Pakistan, to see whether you would abide by your initial request.
Yes, Mr. President. Obviously, the funds are not available now. And I see no reason to adopt a resolution for which there are no funds at this moment. Hence, my proposal that this resolution be delayed, its consideration be delayed, and no action motion be taken. If we had the funds, it was a different matter. Obviously, there aren't the funds, even if they are coming from the regular budget. Thank you.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur l'ambassadeur.
Thank you, Ambassador. I can see that you are not withdrawing your proposal on the postponement of the vote on the draft L1 Rev 1. Allow me to read out 116 of the Rules of Procedure to everyone's benefit. It states as follows. During the discussion of an issue, a representative can ask for a postponement of the debate on the issue, or the sponsor of the motion and other speakers can take the floor. Two can take the floor in favor of the postponement and two against, and then the vote is called.
Par conséquent, à la lumière donc de l'article 116,
So in the light of Article 116, as just read out, I will therefore give the floor to 2 speakers in favour of the postponement of the discussion.
est-ce que je peux considérer que Cuba,
Can I consider
voilà,
that Cuba
en faveur de la
is one and a second in favour of a postponement?
la Fédération de Russie?
Russian Federation.
Alors, les 2 orateurs contre l'ajournement du
2 speakers against such a postponement. The United States of America, Montenegro.
Alors, donc, je commence par les 2 orateurs en
I therefore start with the 2 speakers in favour of the debate being postponed, and I recognise Cuba.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you very much, President.
Tomo la palabra para apoyar
I'm taking the floor to support the request of a motion for no action which has been submitted by the distinguished Ambassador of Pakistan. We really have not received a satisfactory reply indicating that today the financial resources are available to actually do what this resolution is asking for, and there's no doubt that this is significant financing, millions in fact. We would therefore support the motion submitted by Pakistan. Thank you.
Je remercie l'ambassadeur de
Thank you to the Ambassador of Cuba.
Fédération de Russie.
Russian Federation, please.
Thank you. The Russian Federation supports the proposal of Pakistan to postpone consideration of this resolution. Thank you.
Je remercie la Fédération.
I thank the Russian Federation.
Maintenant, je passe à
Now,
la liste des orateurs
let me go on to the list of speakers who are against postponing the debate. I give the floor to the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd just like to raise a procedural question as to whether a no-action motion request can be put forward in the EOV section of the discussion rather than in the general comments. So I would just put that question out there and would appreciate an answer. On the issue of the PBIs, I would like to highlight for other member states that this is the practice through which all resolutions are considered. The funding is never there ahead of time. This is exactly the process for all resolutions. So that is a rather specious comment. In regards to the no action, of course, the United States opposes the motion to close debate called by Pakistan. This resolution has been the subject of open and transparent dialogue since the session began. The resolution was tabled on March 3rd, the first day of the session, and the main sponsors have held 3 rounds of informal consultations. All delegations have had ample opportunity to discuss the resolution and to propose changes to it. Indeed, during the informals, a number of delegations, including our colleagues from Pakistan, commented positively at the high level of transparency we showed in openly discussing the text. The main sponsors have in fact taken on board a substantial number of changes in attempt to meet the concerns expressed by delegations, including by Pakistan. This no-action motion runs completely counter to the openness shown by the main sponsors and the working of this Council. Further, we firmly reject the claim used to justify the calling of this motion that the OHCHR cannot be mandated to carry out investigations. The main sponsors addressed this point at length during the open informal process, and this claim is clearly false. OHCHR has been carrying out investigations into alleged human rights violations since it first came into being 20 years ago. I can list those investigations. They include investigations in Colombia in 2002, Cote d'Ivoire in 2004, as well as in Darfur in Togo. OHCHR has carried out investigations following requests from the Secretary General, such as in Colombia. It also does so during its country operations. And, as in the current resolution, the Office of the High Commissioner can be specifically mandated to carry out investigations when requested to do so by an intergovernmental body, whether the UN Security Council, the General Assembly, or this Human Rights Council. And the wording of the request for an investigation by the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights in the current resolution is taken from previous resolution of this Council. In April 2001, at a special session on Syria, this Council specifically requested the Office of the High Commissioner to investigate all alleged violations of human rights law and to establish the facts and circumstances of such violations and of the crimes perpetrated with a view to avoiding impunity and ensuring full accountability. The language in the resolution before you closely mirrors that text and is clearly based on precedent. Further, I would note that in regards to the time frame set out in the operative paragraph that has been discussed, many states requested that a time frame be specified in the text. We chose the period of the LLRC specifically because that was the period Sri Lanka itself chose for the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission investigation. Therefore, I will wrap up. It is abundantly clear that the OHCHR can carry out investigative motions. The no action motion proposed is a clear attempt, in our view, to prevent discussion on the merits of the resolution before us. This undermines the fundamental mission of the Council by preventing the free and open exchange of ideas. If there is a disagreement with a particular resolution, those disagreements should be expressed through interventions and by voting. Attempts to silence consideration of these resolutions are not appropriate. The United States will vote no on this motion and ask that our colleagues here today who value open and honest dialogue regarding human rights vote no as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. You have raised a vote which prejudges the vote concerning the appropriateness of the request for non-action at this stage. We must say that we don't have any precedent on this, and Rule 116 is not very clear when it comes to the stages in which non-action should be requested. The only thing I can say as President is that those who are against this motion will vote against, and those who are in favor will vote in favor. Well, that's all I can say. There's no precedent to base ourselves on. So let me now give the floor to Montenegro.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me first refer to, first of all, OHCHR mandate to carry out investigation. It's clear that OHCHR can carry out investigation. It has done so on many occasions since it was first established. In some cases, it has supported investigations carried out by other bodies, especially commissions of inquiry. In other situations, has carried out this investigation itself and has done so as far back as late 1993. We firmly reject argument pertaining to the budget. This resolution, like all others before the Council, was presented during the session in accordance with the Council's procedures. The core group sponsoring the resolution fully adhered to the accepted working methods of the Council. This is core group members introduced the resolution ahead of the session, table it in a timely fashion, and engaged in a consultation with all Council members regarding the resolution's text. We conducted several rounds of informal negotiations which were open to all delegations. Following these meetings, the core group took on board a large number of changes to the draft resolution which are reflected in the revised text before us. Therefore, as a matter of principle, Mr. President, this resolution deserves to be considered on its merits and not to be blocked from consideration. While we would have hoped that all members of the Council would have been able to support the present resolution, those members who oppose it are free to express their position by voting or abstaining on the resolution itself. There is no need to postpone or cancel consideration of this resolution. My delegation will vote to oppose this no-action motion, of course, so that we may move to consider the resolution on its merits, and we urge others to join us in voting no. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. So we will have a vote on the motion to postpone the debate on draft decision L1 Rev 1.
Si la motion est adoptée,
If this motion is adopted,
pas de discussion.
then there will be no discussion or consideration of draft decision L1 Rev 1.
Les délégations en faveur de la
Delegations in favor of postponement of the debate will vote yes,
et les délégations
and delegations which are opposed will vote no.
je demande au secrétariat
Let me ask the Secretariat to open the voting machine
et d'enregistrer les votes des délégations.
and record votes by delegations.
Toutes les délégations ont enregistré leur vote.
All delegations have recorded their votes.
Alors je vais donner les résultats du
I
vote.
will give the results of the vote.
Alors je demande au secrétaire de fermer.
I will ask the Secretary to close the vote.
Les résultats du vote
The results of the vote recorded are as follows.
16
16
en faveur de l'ajournement,
in favor of postponement,
donc 16 pour,
16 in favor,
contre l'ajournement.
25 against postponement, and 6 abstentions.
La motion est donc rejetée.
So the motion is rejected.
Les copies du résultat du vote,
Copies of the results of the vote will be distributed soon.
dès lors que la motion est
Since the motion has been rejected, we will consider the request of the representative of Pakistan
d'un vote séparé sur le
for a
paragraphe.
separate vote on paragraph 10.
Nous allons donc procéder
So,
à un vote sur le paragraphe.
we will now have a vote on paragraph 10 separately.
Ceux qui sont en faveur du paragraphe,
Those in favor of paragraph 10 will vote yes.
ceux qui sont contre
Those who are against
voteront non.
will vote no.
Je demande au secrétariat
Let me ask the Secretary to open the voting machine to record delegations' votes.
je vois la délégation de l'Inde
I see the delegation of India,
demande la
which is certainly asking the floor on a point of order, but
en instance de vote.
at present we are in the process of voting, perhaps a clarification, but not a point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could you just clarify that point that you made just now? We weren't paying attention, so it would be appreciated if you could repeat what you just said.